Welcome back to Third Win Thursdays. I'm Scott. I'm joined by John and Eric, partners at TWG. It's June 1st, 2023. This is Third Win Thursdays number 11. And yeah, excited to be here. You both changed up your backgrounds for today.
We're TWT on the road. Actually, live from Baltimore right now. We're literally in the same space on the same floor. Uh, but it's like we have to be on our laptops. We can't just be like, I didn't want to just put Eric like right next to me. So we're doing a little partner meeting today. But the show must go on, right, Scott? We can't leave the people hanging that are
Exactly.
wanting TWT.
Always got to keep it running. Anyways, let's jump right in. We've got game one of the NBA Finals just around the corner. So some of our picks did not make it, except for one of them, John, the Denver Nuggets. So I was thinking let's do our picks for the finals. I'm guessing you're sticking with them.
Look, the Nuggets have been the best team all year. Nikola Jokic has been the best player all playoffs. And I was just reading about how basically the Nuggets have the among the best home court advantages because of their status as the Mile High City, and NBA players legitimately feel different when they're playing in Denver. So I feel like Denver is going to come out and take a 2-0 lead in the series. Miami will maybe take one in Miami to make it 3-1 when it comes back, and then I think Denver will win it in 5 because I think they're that much better. I think Miami's going to be exhausted from the 7-game series in Boston, and I just think it's Jokic's time. I think Jokic is an unbelievable generational player, and usually generational players win titles in the NBA. So that's what I got. Nuggets in 5.
Yeah, I'm going to have to keep riding the Miami 305 train. And John, you're forgetting the fact that there is a home field advantage in Miami, and it is the fact that you're not used to the South Beach nightclubs when you're down when you're an away team. So hopefully that messes Jokic and Jamal Murray up a little bit as they go down to South Beach, as much as the Mile High City will mess up Jimmy Butler's shot. But I think I'm going to have to also go with the Heat because Caleb Martin, you guys know I'm a huge J. Cole Dreamville fan. But Caleb Martin's story when he got cut from Charlotte, J. Cole called the Heat and he was in his gym training with him and he was like, you guys need to sign this guy. Got him his 10-day, two-way contract, and the rest is history. So if the Heat win, I think Dreamville gets a ring too. It's only the right way.
I'm it feels like a betrayal to my Boston Celtics, but I'm going Heat because if they win, that means they were the better team at the end of the day. So hit me buckets all the way. And let's see. I think I'm gonna go game 6. Yep. So we'll see how that goes.
This,
But
this is going to be one of those ones I can't wait for the receipts to come up in about 10 days because Denver has not played in like 8 days. They're rested, and Miami just came off of a ridiculously gut-wrenching emotional series. So good luck to you guys. Can't wait to see Jokic lifting the MVP trophy in a couple weeks here.
Pat Riley's gonna give a very emotional speech and get everyone riled up. That's what I'm going with. But we'll see. We've got a week, a little bit more probably, if my prediction is right. And we always do receipts, John. So if you do get it, it'll be you. You highlighted on this show once more. All right. So with that, let's just jump right into the headlines for the week. We've got NIL, stadium deals, not really deals, but finances. And then the last one is a streaming service.
That's close enough to regional sports networks. So
Exactly.
we have to keep our strategy and keep our talks going.
Our themes, and then obviously the third win at the end. I think this one's a good one. But yeah, let's get right into it.
All right, everybody. So the Vikings, Minnesota pay off stadium debt 23 years early. The new tax bill to save Minnesota taxpayers $226 million in interest. Consumer brace of electronic pull tab games allows for marked acceleration of debt repayment. This from Front Office Sports and Eric Fisher at FOS. Is this the first time ever that one of these stadium deals actually worked out for taxpayers, Eric? Because it seems like 9 out of 10 of them end up just absolutely screwing over the taxpayer. Is this history here?
I think you're right, and honestly, it shows kind of like it caught me off guard when I first saw it. My first thought was, "Oh man, are the Vikings like trying to move? Are they buying out? Are they trying to pay it off so that they can just sell the stadium or something? Are they trying to?" I didn't think it was a good thing for the city at first. It kind of took me off guard. But yeah, it definitely, for the team and for the ownership to want to take this move and actually be doing it for a positive thing for the city and to kind of really lock their roots down. It's just really good for, again, the city, and it shows the fans that the Vikings are there to stay and that they really care about the audience that they're with.
I think this just signals how good the NFL business is doing. I mean, franchise valuations are insanely high. You saw the Broncos sell for almost $5 billion last year. The Commanders sell for $6 billion this year. The media deals that they've been able to secure for the long term, it's just an absolute cash cow of business. So this is a luxury whenever you're able to pay off long-term debt like this as a business. This is like a total luxury. But this is even with the Minnesota Vikings being a mid-tier team that hasn't really, they've made it a few NFC Championship appearances. They famously can't break through and win the big game. But no, I mean, NFL is king. NFL stays king. And, good news for Minnesota fans and Minnesota citizens, Minneapolis citizens, they can get this done early. All right, what's next, Scott?
Yeah, so one quick note on the NFL business before our time, as in before TWT. There was an article from Forbes that said the NFL beat or had a new record in sponsorship deals of 1.88 billion. So just goes to show what could be done if all of those are third win sponsorships in the future. So keep that in mind as the business of sports keeps on giving. All right, NIL, John.
Here we go. Brian Kelly suggests federal legislative intervention is solution to NIL inequities. Well, it was inevitable, Eric. Eventually, the wild, wild west that is the NIL verse in college sports was going to get calls for federal regulation. I wasn't confident that it was going to be a head coach of LSU football that was going to call for it, but it's now happened. The only thing that I see is how are they actually going to enforce this? You know what I mean? Like, say you pass a federal law on NIL, the do's and don'ts and can'ts and cans. They were never able to enforce NIL when it was happening under the table in the black market, etc. What makes them think they'll be able to enforce this type of stuff if they even pass a federal law, right? And what would that legislation even look like?
Yeah, it's really makes you question a lot of things, especially it made me originally think about like sports gambling and how you're seeing, organizations like FanDuel and DraftKings are struggling as they're going across the country to figure out all right, in this state we can do this, in this state we can do that. And yes, federal legislation would kind of ease that, but in a way there's so many kind of hoops to jump through that even federal legislation, I think, would kind of just add more red tape and would, again, cause more of that underground market to kind of pop back up rather than bring what Coach Kelly thinks would happen if federal legislation came in here. So it's another one of those kind of double-edged swords where you're not really sure where the benefit could come from. And again, the Wild Wild West just needs a little bit of structure, but I don't know if federal legislation is the structure that's going to help it in the best way possible here.
I think this is potentially, the fact that the NCAA just changed presidents to a guy named Charlie Baker, who used to be governor of Massachusetts, who's, a skilled politician. I think this is perhaps he has an ally in Brian Kelly, who is also saying, like, this is what we need. And I'm thinking, like, who benefits from coaches starting to speak out by this is, like, probably the NCAA, right? they're trying to cling on to the semblance of authority that they have. And so, okay, how do you get people to buy into that? You get some well-known figures in college sports to speak up, right, for what you want to get done. This is kind of how you have to think about any of these political things. It's like, who benefits? And to me, it's the NCAA, right? Not the student athlete, not the university. It's probably the NCAA and coaches, right? Because coaches are probably going to potentially be compensated less with their players starting to get compensated more, right? So it's like Brian Kelly's trying to protect his salary. The NCAA is trying to protect their power and authority. And it's like, okay, the battle is on, right? For compensation for the student athlete versus compensation for the coach versus compensation for the governing body.
Whoever shows up for the legislative hearing will be that'll be the clear picture for who thinks they benefit from this. If it's just a bunch of coaches and athletic directors and no athletes, or if it's a good mix of student athletes, that's the real the answer will come from who is in attendance at the legislative hearings whenever those come up. So it'll be interesting.
Awesome. This is this next one's a little bit outdated, but still within the month and the second half of the month. So here you go.
All right. I saw this one, and honestly, I was like, finally. So the headline from Sports Business is ESPN, quote unquote, laying the groundwork for standalone streaming service. And the little the context here is that ESPN is kind of looking at it and saying, okay, is ESPN Plus just kind of going to be extra stuff, or are we going to put all of our top broadcasting rights into this package and more likely than not increase the price of it, which in a sense will cannibalize their traditional cable business, right? Because ESPN is one of the highest priced pieces to the traditional cable package. Like if you're buying from Comcast, if you're buying from Verizon, you're buying from Cox Communications, you're getting your cable package. Like ESPN is a large chunk of that subscription, right? So, they make a large percentage of their money, and traditionally ESPN's made a large percentage of their money by being in that cable bundle. And so what they're saying here is, like, in the next 2, 3, 5 years, we might just completely kill our cable business and put everything into ESPN Plus so that we can charge a premium for it, and we don't need to rely on distribution with all these different cable companies. I mean, this has kind of been the writing on the wall, right? The streaming wars have kind of taken a long time to kill cable. But if ESPN does indeed move almost all of their NBA broadcasting rights, MLB broadcasting rights, Monday Night Football, or maybe I think that changed over recently because Fox has Monday Night Football now. But like, if ESPN's putting all of their top live streaming, live events rights onto ESPN Plus, they can probably charge $40 a month for it. And then people will just be like, why would I need cable anymore? Right. So I think we're going to see this happen, but they can't do it immediately because that would mean their revenues would go down by a lot in the next couple of quarters.
I mean, and the Disney massive conglomerate that is, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, all these different streaming services. I'm interested to see how that will kind of play out. I just, pray they don't do what HBO did and change their name to just like sports or something. The way HBO is now just Max. That's all I'm asking, ESPN. You can have your own standalone service. Just don't be sports. Like, get a good name for yourself.
Yeah, it'd be like ESPN they just start naming their service Stan, You just literally have a first name for your streaming service, and it's like, why is this called Max? Where you have HBO, one of the best, highest quality, premium entertainment brands in the industry, you just throw that away, or you basically bury it inside of your app. That's like, what are you doing, guys? Like, who? I want to know what agency they hired to change to literally change it from HBO Max to Max. That's the kind of contract we want to land here at TWG. We'll do stupid things with your brand for millions of dollars. So please contact us if you would like our services. A little bit tongue in cheek, but
it's John at thirdwin.com.
Yeah, seriously, we're ready. We're ready to ruin your brand for you.
All right, there we go. So now we'll just jump straight into the third win for the week.
On a more positive note.
Exactly. Bringing back the energy, the rainbows and the sunshine. All right, so a little context for you guys. MLS and RCX Sports, which is a youth program facilitator, essentially, that works with NFL, NBA, MLB, all the big leagues, has paired up with MLS to launch this program, MLS Go, to kind of increase youth participation in sports in general, and then obviously soccer focused. So that's the general gist of the partnership, and it's focused across North America, like it says here. Beautiful.
Eric, you're our soccer aficionado. What's your take?
I was about to say, organizations and activations like this are really cool, just to get kids involved in, what I again think is the greatest sport on this planet. And it's an easy access. When these fields and these organizations that are in these cities are setting up 2 goals and they have a ball, we can get kids out and we can start playing soccer and getting them active. And from that point, a lot of professional players, you hear soccer was their first sport and then they fell in love with another sport. So imagine how many markets you're opening up. I was looking at some of the city lists. I won't hold it against them that they're not in Baltimore, but Birmingham, Alabama, down in DC, like you're setting up infrastructure where there's soccer hotbeds all over the country. And if you're getting these kids to play a little bit and then go to, you might not know that Birmingham, Alabama has a thriving USL soccer team that has a great fan base. But now those kids, after they go to one summer camp, they want to go see, the Birmingham team play. They want to go see a team in their city play at the San Diegos that are going to have an MLS team coming up. But now they have one of the USL pro clubs there as well. So it's just that entry point. And for me, I just love seeing it in terms of soccer. It makes me think of a lot of different organizations like that are here in Baltimore who are doing similar things, just going into communities and saying, we have the equipment, here we are, we're building the awareness, and let's get these kids out, especially as the summer's coming around. So shout out to the MLS.
Yeah, I mean, look, what I take away is, and I think this is true, whenever you bring a 3-win approach or a third win approach to deals, is that it's not just the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do for your business to grow your business long term, right? Providing resources for youth, getting youth more active, getting youth involved, right, in your sport. You have a better chance of making them a lifelong fan than if you just really focus on the people who can pay for your season tickets, the people who can pay for your streaming service or your games, right? You want to build the next generation of fans. Well, you got to invest in the next generation of fans. So I think that's a cool thing here, which is it's a third win in the sense of it's the right thing to do. It's investing in youth and communities that need the investment, but then it will return back. Maybe not immediately for the MLS, but over time, this is going to be a huge boost, and it's just another kind of brick in the wall in the sense that MLS is still a relatively young league, right? If you compare it to the other major sports leagues in North America, still pretty early. So they're thinking generational here, and it's a perfect example of like win-win-win is the way to build long-term growth, long-term brand equity, long-term brand affinity, right? So that's my take, and I think it's another great example, another great case study to put out there to emphasize win-win-win in all your business dealings.
And you hinted at it, Eric, but San Diego is getting a MLS team launching 2025. Egyptian gentleman made the investment, $500 million. So San Diego also in the come up of next sports capital. So exciting.
Real quick. What should they call the San Diego MLS club?
Ooh.
Give me a name. Are we just gonna go SDFC, or are we going something else?
The Mavericks. You know the only reason? Because there's that big ass wave that they
pretty
call
Sure.
the Maverick, and it just reminds me of the San Diego Wave.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Team. So
yep. No, that's pretty funny. And honestly, John, the way the MLS chooses names, your SDFC is probably not too far off.
I mean, it's kind of that easy, right?
Nothing wrong with a classic. If they do call it that, John, I'll pull up this receipt in 2 years.
Again, TWG giving out free marketing and branding advice every Thursday at 11:30 Eastern Daylight Time. It's sometimes branding, it really is that simple. It's just like, what's the first thing that comes to your head? It sounds really good. SDFC. All right, great. That's the name of the club.
All right. Well, with that, let's go into the last segment, which is our community updates. We mentioned this one last week, but CJ Golding is hosting the Boys in the Wood retreat starting today. So congrats to him. Congrats to his partners, which include BetterHelp, Mir, a lot of in-kind support for the group. And we're excited to see what comes of it and everything that is going on during the summer for Boys in the Wood, because there's going to be various retreats. So if you're interested, be on the lookout for those.
I was gonna say it's the summer months. We got Boys in the Wood retreats coming up. We got Jeremy Casebeer AVP season about to get into full swing. Carol's summer worldwide beach schedule is looking crazy. I know Marcus Alston and Alston for Athletes are going to be having a lot of different webinars, so keep an eye out for things we can share there. There's a lot of stuff going on. I know Evan Gill, also known as the Black Sherpa, is planning to do some absurd climbs that he told me about that I started sweating as he was just telling me them. And our clients are keeping us busy, and they're definitely on the move. And we're excited to see what June looks like and the rest of summer for TWG and the community.
Let me just tease out, for the next couple of weeks, there are many new members of the TWG community coming soon to a TWT episode near you. We'll talk more about those soon as we announce those, but it just feels really gratifying that a lot of individuals are all, excited about what we're building, excited to be a part of it, and excited to tap into TWG to help grow their business. So more to come on that, but it's going to be a very, very busy, very exciting summer at TWG.
Yes, sir. All right. So with that, we'll wrap up for the week. Thank you guys for joining as always. And we'll catch everyone next week.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to June. Peace.